button and share last 30 seconds. That's interesting. Anyway, so we're online, and here we are. And it's interesting. Alexia wanted me to do a blog. I wouldn't be surprised do this blab and blog. I wouldn't be surprised if she comes on, but I just thought, well, what would make a good subject to talk about? If we were sitting in the cafe in Newmarket, what would we talk about? So anyway, so I wrote down a few things and then came up with material, what do I call it? Material security or spiritual happiness. So I've been thinking about it, but I've been really busy lately, and occasionally I think about it, and I think I'm probably somewhere in the middle there, which is probably the best place to be. What do you say?
Yeah, well, I think they're both important. I think we actually need to eat. So I think we need, somewhere along the line, we have to have some money somewhere so we can eat, which I think is really useful.
Yeah.
I think it's just about how much importance you put on how you get the money and what actually money really is.
Yep.
And how it threads into our lives so that we can be, live our life abundantly without getting caught up in, the whole money trap, where money becomes the guiding influence of everything we do is around what we can afford and what we can't afford.
Yeah.
I think it's got a lot to do with that. So, but we talked a lot about this. We talked a lot about the money thing and the prosperity consciousness to break out of the idea of lack or the especially in the spiritual world, and we talked about that as well. In a spiritual realm where sometimes there's fear of money, and money is the root of all evil, and you're caught up in money, you become a money baron, and all your focus is on money, and money will be everything. But I always go back, and we've talked about this as well, about that with a lot of money you can actually help more people. You can feed starving people, so it's actually really useful.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I confer with that, and yes, very much where I'm at the moment. In fact, creating money so I can get going here in Australia. But it's not so much an issue for me. It's just a case sometimes of sorting out your values. I think we have a lot of kind of unconscious values that have their say, whether we like it or not. And so whenever we look at what's confronting us, our values step in and say, well, I like that and I don't like this, and that happens before we even make our mind up, about what we're going to do. So I think that's one area. And in fact, I've been covering it in my blogs. The last two blogs I've done, I've been covering that, particularly in this last blog, which will be coming out probably on Monday or Tuesday, and just how do we overcome our own value set when it comes to things like money, because we all have quite extreme views, either one way or the other, about it. And how do you moderate that so that you can make it, because consciously, I believe that if it was my conscious choice, I would have money right now. But the reason why I don't have the money right now is because there's something else going on. And I in the blog I related it to right back to DNA, actually, because this has been something that's been coming up a lot lately, that how our beliefs, our story, if you like, is embedded into every part of us. Our deeper beliefs are in every cell in our body. They get distributed out through the energy fields, and through epigenetics, every cell picks up exactly what we're thinking, and that's what we create, because the DNA, some of the latest discoveries are saying that DNA, the disposition of your DNA controls what you create in your life on an external level. So not only is DNA controlling, if you like, or creating new cells and doing the internal stuff on the trillions of cells that make up our body, it's actually also having an effect in the world around us through energy fields. And when you think about it, the blog, I sort of feature the idea that, we're 50 trillion cells, 50 DNA, and in each cell, in the nucleus of each cell, there's DNA. In fact, there's DNA outside the nucleus of the cell. And all that DNA is energetic. It's alive. And the 50 trillion little 0.1111 or whatever it is of a watt or a volt added up gives quite a powerful energy field around your body. And that energy field extends out quite a way and interacts with other like-minded or like-fielded energy fields to bring you exactly what you're asking for. So, so I guess that on the level of creating abundance, some of the deeper beliefs and values need to be worked on, I guess. And I kind of went into the blog about, well, how do you do that? Well, the one thing that it was a Heart Math Institute that did a lot of research around what sort of signals can we give to our DNA to work with them, to not to control them, but to steer them or steer ourselves, because we are our DNA, into the direction of what we want. And it seems like coherence, heart coherence, is the biggest factor, because the heart inputs so much energy into the field, much more than the mind does, than the brain, that your heart feelings are what tends to control what you get in your life. So even though your brain might be thinking, it'd be nice to have financial security, if the heart has another idea about that, has some sort of built-in story about that, then that's what gets mostly imprinted. So making sure that your messages you're sending to all your cells are of a cohesive quality and are happy messages, happy and positive, because the whole universe works in positive, happy energy. Everything works on that thriving, going forward energy, growing, recycling. The whole universe works that way. So if you can get into that energy, into that feeling, then you're starting to get somewhere with it. So I've been working on that lately, and I know that our feelings can often be influenced by the mind as well. If we see something and make up our mind we don't like it, feelings will follow suit. I'll feel angry at it or disapproving of it, but sometimes feelings happen first. Like when you watch a beautiful sunset, you don't think anything. The picture you're looking at actually makes you feel a certain way first. Then you think, oh, what a beautiful sunset. So it's a case of working in that area of the heart, I guess, and keeping the messages and your feelings at a happy, positive level. That's good.
No, I agree. Yeah, I totally agree. I had a photographer the other day, just on the last point, and she said she doesn't take photos of still things, she takes photos of feelings.
Yeah.
And when you look at her website, and she's an incredible photographer, and every time you see one of the pictures, it's like you can actually feel something from the picture. You actually feel the feeling that she captured.
Yep.
Of the picture, and you can actually feel there's emotion coming with the picture.
Wow.
And what an incredible art form to be able to see that.
Yes.
Inside a still frame, and to actually capture that, a moment's second, and capture a feeling that she clever with it. Serena Williams. There's a website, Serena Williams, if anybody's interested. It's just phenomenal pictures, and she captures human beings in a split second. But you can tell what they're like. You can tell. Really
is that yours?
I think it's mostly mine. Well, we forgot to do our photos off, didn't we? I won't answer that. I'll just turn it off.
It was funny because only an hour ago I was in the supermarket getting some things, and I heard that same ring, and I reached in my pocket and put it out, and I looked at it, and there was nothing on it, and I said, right, I'm going to change that ring, and now it's happened again. Everybody leaves that ring.
That's ring on my computer. It's not on my phone. My phone, I've just got it on. I've got it on buzz on my phone, so that's
okay.
Wow. Yeah. So going back to the whole thing, and I totally agree with the money thing. That and I've been talking to people about this because it's a great subject, the whole money thing. And it's like people have stories around how they are in their own lives and their behaviour around themselves and their relationship with other people, and how life should be and how relationships should be and how you should act and how you should be. But when it comes to money, it's almost like they've got a different set of rules around money than they do around the other things. It's like it's a separate thing.
Yep.
And I believe that the stories for money go back to whatever was imprinted you, besides the DNA, which comes in from the grandparents.
Yep.
But whatever your story your parents had around money will become your story, or a combination of both of them.
Yeah.
And I can use my own example that my mum, if my mum ever talked about money, it was always about struggle. It's always hard, and it's always going to be difficult.
Yep.
And my dad's story was, you work really hard and you get it in the end. So you work hard, and then when you get old enough to retire, then you get to spend it then.
Yeah.
And so my combination of those two was, well, I work really hard, and I was thinking I was going to get rich in the end. And so I spent my life struggling, making it really difficult, mate, because that's what I thought you did. You have to struggle because money's not easy.
Yeah.
Struggle really hard, and someday at the end it's going to pay off when I'm 60 or 70. I'll finally have enough money to really relax.
Yeah.
But then my father died when he was 50, so I never got to spend any of it. So that whole story just sort of fell apart. I go, okay, well, maybe that's not it. And so I've really addressed these stories about, well, if I had a different set of stories, and I've talked to people in seminars and things about this, if I had a set of stories that said that money comes easy, I have abundance all my life, and I never have to struggle, then if that was what I thought, well, would that actually happen? And I was talking to this guy, and that was his story, and he had an incredible job. He lived in anywhere, which is a really flash place in New Zealand, and he was driving an Audi, and never worried about money. It always kept coming because that's what he believed would happen.
Yeah.
And so I think it's about addressing our story that's running in the background that's actually stopping it. But as I say, this money story and our life story, I've found that some people are different. They have a different set of rules around money than they do around themselves.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily about self-worth. It's about how they see money and what it actually is.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's just an energy exchange with yourself and other. And we all understand that. But it's the story that's going to slow us down with that. So I just want to throw that into the mix because I think there's a great piece of learning about is to just write down what your mum's story was, what you did, and then work out what yours is.
Yeah.
That can be the stumbling block.
I agree. I was just thinking while you were just toward the end of your conversation there that you often they'll bring up a wealthy person and question them. I've seen it on TV occasionally. I've seen it, a dozen times over the last few years where a wealthy person will get asked, well, what'd you do to be so wealthy? How did you, and they'll say, oh, well, I worked hard and I'm smart and and I did this and that happened and that was a lucky break but nothing is ever referred to in terms of their own control. It's always something outside that happened that made them wealthy. And occasionally you get people who say, oh, well, I just started with wealth and so I never lost it. But you're right. I think that the hereditary aspect of wealth is quite powerful. But fortunately today, and people like Bruce Lipton, we now know that we can change our DNA, and in fact, by changing your behaviour and your attitude with regard to this particular thing, then it can change. I think you have to be a little patient too at times. That sometimes making that unless something pretty radical happens to you, where you win the lotto or something, where you actually have to change, where it gets changed really quickly, your whole idea around money. But if it in working on the belief first and then creating the money, it can take a little while to change that DNA just from changing your behaviour.
Yeah, and a lot of things are an interesting thing because they've had not everybody of course, but some people have got the money and they end up losing it all anyway because if they don't understand how money works. When you give a person who doesn't understand monetary systems or investments and savings, they just go and spend it all.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they've got nothing coming back for their money.
So they never change their beliefs about it.
Yeah, if a rich man won lotto, he wouldn't spend $1 million. He'd invest that and live off the money it makes. You wouldn't sell a golden goose. You're not going to chop it up.
Yeah.
Most people just go and spend it and buy the things they always wanted, and then they just buy themselves liabilities instead of assets, and they're not going to create them any money. I'm not saying everybody do that, but they've proven that the people have done that. And they end up being nothing again. They don't really understand how finance works. I think it's something should be taught in school. I think everybody should be taught how a monetary system works. and how to invest and how to make money. It's a very different thing. But I like the DNA thing. I'll just go back to that DNA thing.
Yep.
So if your cells are replicated every day, your cells die every day and you replicate. So you have a cell that says money's a struggle and it's hard. So the next cell is going to come back and says that money's hard and you've got to struggle.
Yeah.
And the next cell that becomes, so unless you change the DNA or the imprint in that, and the next cell that comes in and says money comes really easy, it's abundant, and I add value to people's lives and people give me money for that. If you change the DNA, the next cell that comes out has a different imprint in it.
Yeah, it has a bit of that. So it's kind of like if you have kids and you're black and your wife's white, your kid isn't going to be, it could be black or white, I guess, but the more likely outcome.
A combination of both.
Yeah.
So how many cells did you say we have? We've got to change
50 trillion.
Cells. We have to change that coding because the coding doesn't say that exactly.
But changing them all happens together.
It's a vibration. Yeah.
Well, one thing about cells, of course, is they're expert at cooperation. Otherwise, we would not be here.
We'd all
cells cooperate so well together.
We'd fall apart in a puddle.
An amazing.
We wouldn't exist. We'd just be a puddle.
But our perspective is that somehow we are separate from ourselves. Here's me talking about my cells like there's something else, but actually I am my cells talking. And that's a whole different psychology around this. And so when I think, it's my cells thinking. So that's a real amazing miracle that we can actually know what our cells are thinking because it's what we're thinking. And so if you look at your beliefs around money and you think, your deeper beliefs, then and you don't feel that you deserve a lot of it, well, that's what your cells are thinking. And
then the law of attraction is that's exactly what you're going to manifest. Of course, I also like the idea of what you're thinking. We talk about what we're thinking, and people always think, what I'm thinking, and you think about your mind. But now that they know that the DNA and your whole makeup is in every cell, even in your fingernails and your nails and your toes, so every cell has all of you in every cell. So the whole body is your memory. Your memory is in every single cell. So we're like this giant, great big memory cell, and our mind is just the thing that interprets this information, and then you let it come out through here or it comes in through there. And it's like the computer head, but the memory is our whole body.
It is.
And I know the cellular memories are around this. So what is it? The famous thing, if you do the same thing, you get the same result.
Yeah.
So change it and change what's happening inside your cells with new information and new understanding and reprogram all of it. And then your memories, now your mind has something different to process.
Yeah.
A lot to do with that.
And you have to make those changes in alignment with the way the universe evolves.
Correct.
Because everybody in their cells are part of the universe evolving.
Absolutely.
So you can't go against that flow. Well, in fact, thinking negatively and thinking poverty consciousness actually goes against the natural flow of the universe. Yeah. And we're so good at doing it. It must be really difficult, and when you get into that flow of abundance, it must be so much easier than swimming uphill. But fish do it.
And they've proven that too. They've done studies, when they've talked to plants, and they've talked positively to plants, and they've talked really badly to plants, and the plants that they talk badly to just wilter and don't grow. I mean, what's that? How is the plant picking up the vibration of that negativity?
So they've done the same. They've done the same with human cells, and that's exactly what happens in human cells. The ones that are surrounded with a positive vibration actually grow, and the ones that have a negative vibration don't grow. And that tells a story in itself. But it's an amazing thing, and I guess the next step, and the one that my latest blog is about, is how do we talk to ourselves? What do we say?
Yeah, totally agree.
And one of the really interesting things that happened a few years ago is there was a few Russian physicists got together with linguists and all sorts of scientists, and they were looking and studying what they call the junk DNA, which is the other 90% of our DNA that doesn't seem to add up to anything.
Well, they don't know what it is yet. For more they just don't know what it is yet.
Well, they did research, and they did research on the way it behaves, and they found that the genetic code, the way that the alkalines reproduce, is the same way that we form human languages.
Okay.
And so, things like syntax and semantics and grammar are patterns of thought and patterns of putting things together to form communication. This is the way that DNA actually communicates. So,
Okay, that's
so
great.
on the same way that we are ourselves thinking, our words are ourselves talking, our thoughts are ourselves thinking. And so we don't so you don't have to think in some ways, what do I tell myself so that they'll behave themselves and want lots of money? You don't have to do that, because whatever you're thinking, whatever you're talking about is already going there.
Yeah, no, I hear that. I
And
quite often do that. I'll talk out what I'm thinking so I can actually hear myself.
yeah,
And I'm talking to somebody, and I see myself laying down concepts and ideas when I'm communicating. When we do quite often when we're talking, and I'm listening to the way that I'm formulating my idea of the concept of it, and then evaluating as I say what's coming out, and I hear it and go, oh, okay. Or I catch myself. We've done this before, and catch ourselves with self-talk when you say, oh, I always do that. And you go, oh, okay, do you always do that? I go, oh, interesting. I think I always do that. So, well, then you always will then if you keep saying that.
yeah,
So I think the self-talks are really important to catch our language. Because
yeah,
our language betrays what's, as you say, the language betrays what the DNA is going on. It's almost like the DNA speaking. And you're going to catch your story in your own language. And I love listening to myself communicate and catching some of this. I use the term loosely, negative comments.
yeah.
Just self not empowering comments that are not good for good vibration in myself. It's great, and it's I love it. When I hear somebody say that, I got to bite my tongue not to challenge them when they say something. Are you sure you always do that? I got to be cool, because I can do it to myself and fair enough, but I haven't got permission to do it to other people. But I might do it to my wife sometimes. I'm sure I do. She'll tell you I do.
Yeah. Well, I think waking up in the morning and getting onto the right foot is important. And when it comes to cellular communication, and it's about what I say, it's about what I think. It's not about what I'm communicating to myself.
Yeah.
It's about what I'm actually doing right in the now and saying. So I get up. So I wrote down this thing, and it's like saying good morning to myself in the morning. I go, good morning and good day to this beautiful life of Jeffrey.
Oh, that's cool.
Thank you for waking me once again to this magical new day in earthly paradise. Today I commit to being positively me in word and thought, to give to each and every moment with a warm and loving energy, and from unconditional love I openly receive everything as my creation with gratitude and appreciation. I am truly blessed to live this life. Thank you for this day. And so I start the day with that. It's kind of like,
that's very cool. Mine's a bit shorter than that, but
I want myself to be happy.
But mine's the same. See, I'll go and practice my Tai Chi and my Qigong in the mornings every morning. I go up to the park up here in Cornwall Park, which is all just beautiful. It's just like being in the country up there. Yeah. And I'll sit there, and my one is I thank the energy of what I'm sitting in. I thank it for every breath of air I get to take to allow me to be alive today. And whatever's going to unfold in the day today, let me to understand and to see it and to understand it more clearly, what I am and what my part and role is in the world and why I'm actually here. And so mine's quite short, but I always say that every morning. I thank to the breath of air, the breath of life that keeps me alive, to have another day here, to do whatever I'm meant to do and meet whoever I'm meant to meet and help whoever I need to help and hear myself talk. Sometimes I think I'm here for that too.
I think the key is joy, is getting into that really positive feeling within yourself. And it's a feeling, not a thought so much. I mean, the thoughts have to be for your, here's the other thing I want to mention is that one of the biggest differences between material security or spiritual happiness is material security tends to come from the mind. It's what you know about the world and how you manipulate the stock market, so how you make more money and how you do all that. So it's about the mind thinking, whereas spiritual happiness is a bit more about the heart feeling. And I think it's the integration of the two that you need. So what your cells need is a balanced diet of thought and feeling, And so absolutely joy is joy and happiness and gratitude, appreciation. And they're all really important aspects of when you're thinking. Like, so you think joyously, you think with gratitude, and I can't help feeling that, there's 50 trillion cells all actively working together to keep me alive. Am I grateful for that? You bet. Because it only takes a few of them to make things go wrong and you end up not being alive. So I'm totally grateful. And I think if you've got that energy in your communications with the world around you and with yourself, I think that's the key, is to be happy.
And I think, that happy's, and I always like not to get caught up in the duality of one side and just think that there is only happy and that's the goal, is to be happy.
Yeah.
I think because they both exist, happy and non-happy, whatever you like, could call it sad if you want.
Yeah.
If they both exist, they're part of the duality, they're part of one's yin, one's yang, and they're part of a bigger picture. And the bigger picture is that you can feel happy, sad, angry, nervous, anxious. You can feel all of that. It's just all part of, and those feelings come from thoughts. They're triggered by thoughts that create an energetic feeling inside the body, and we get the feeling. But if we see them all as just, the Chinese medicine sees it really great. They don't see anything good or bad. They just see them as different.
Yep.
The energy of sorrow, the energy of anger, the zero of happiness is just a different form of energy in our body, and all is an indicator of what's going on inside our body energetically.
Yeah.
And so they always see them as. So my goal in life is not to be happy or to be sad or to be anything. It's just to be all of that and be okay with whatever happens, because that's not that's not the problem. If it's only a sickness if you're sad all the time. It's only something wrong if you're angry all the time, because then it's affected the liver somehow. But if you just get angry and then it goes and comes and goes, it's just normal what we do emotionally as emotional maturity or mastery as a human. We get it all the time. But I don't want to be one of them. I just be okay with all of them, whatever it is at the time. And
Absolutely.
I watch a sad movie, because we can't be happy all the time. It's impossible. Because somebody you know is going to die one day, and you cannot tell me that you're going to be happy about that. Your dog could die, it'll be enough. And so we're not designed to be one side, one part of the duality. It just keeps fluctuating. And it's okay. It's only out of place if you're like that all the time. And you just go in and out of it. It's fine. I just monitor what's happening, an emotional feeling through the body. And to me, it's just an indicator of where I'm going and what's going on in my life. It indicates towards the story I've got running in the background about what's happening with me, which I've got the reference back into that cellular DNA story that's in there somewhere that I'm trying to uncover to break the hold it has on me.
I think you make a really good point when you identify the aspects of good and bad as really just a judgment.
Totally.
It's a judgment that's based on the emotion being more powerful than you. In some way that it controls you. And I think that where humans need to grow is that we're in control of our emotions. It doesn't mean to say we just turn them on or off when we want to, but it means when they happen, it's not all of us. It's not, when we don't feel good, when we're having a negative emotion, if you like, a sadness or an anger or whatever, it's not everything we are. And that's the point you make. And it's almost like there's this third person who's happy, who's content. I guess happiness is one.
We're all of it. We're all of it all the time. So it's like, and exactly what you're saying. If we're sad, if you're sad because something's happened or somebody you know's hurt themselves or somebody's passed away, but you can't say that happiness is gone. It's still there, it's just going in the background. It's just that particular emotion's in the foreground at the moment. The other ones still have to exist. They can't go anywhere.
Yeah. And I think it's like
something could happen really funny at that exact time. When if you're a funeral, how often have you been to a funeral or somebody says something funny, you start laughing at a funeral. Yeah. Because it still lives there. It can't go anywhere. Yeah. It's just your vibration has changed into one of them, so you can feel that one, but it doesn't mean the other ones don't go away. We're all of it. We have to be. They can't just not be there. It's like you can't have a part of your character missing. We're all parts of characters. We have honesty and we have dishonesty. We have both pieces. We have to. You can't just have one side. No. And we have a choice, and we have every emotion there is, and every feeling. We get the whole lot. Yeah. And my teacher used to say it's like a slide doll and a graphic equalizer. You just have them turn them up wherever you want.
You get
a choice to where you put them. Yeah, you can be honest or you can be dishonest. It's your choice.
I wonder which end of the EQ happiness and sadness would be. I suppose happiness would be at the top end, so you'd be pushing up the high end of
I
the
don't know.
scale.
I think we have because we like life. We're a live entity. We're alive. So part of being alive is being full of life.
Mm.
And life, when you're full of life, you have a lot of energy. Then you can't help to be relatively more, and I say happy, and I use that literally, more happy. If you're full of life, you had plenty of sleep, you wake up in the morning, you feel good, you just feel good.
Yeah.
And if you're really tired and you run down and tired, it's pretty hard to feel good when you're like that.
Yeah.
You know, you're just going to feel the other emotions because your energy's more vibrating in that field. The higher the vibration, the happier, the more healthy you are. Of course, you have a higher vibration. You can't be that healthy and be gloomy. It's pretty difficult.
Yeah, true enough.
And to understand, I love Chinese medicine, how they see it, because it's always about the energy of the body as well.
Yeah.
And I quite like they phrase that, and they don't let you get caught in one piece of it. Otherwise, you're just getting stuck in one side of the duality, and they're really against that.
Well, they look at the energy fields, so they don't call them fields, but it's
both of them together.
The chi energy. It's
the yin and the yang together. They make up the same piece. It's the two sides of the coin, but the most important part of the coin, not the head or the tail. It's the whole coin, and they always go back to the whole coin. And as a human, we're a whole piece. We just have a head side and a tail side. We get sometimes we're heavy, sometimes we're sad, sometimes we're rich, sometimes we're poor. We're just all of that.
Yeah.
But it's what the big piece is in the middle, which is who we really are, which is a combination of all of that.
Yeah, it's around the edge.
Yeah. The wrinkle bit around the edge. Yeah. As you get older, you get more wrinkles.
Yeah. A good analogy, especially when we're talking about financial security.
Yeah, focus on the head. You know, we want to get heads because heads is a good side to get. You don't want to get tails, you'll lose.
Yeah. Maybe it's nearer the back end of the tail.
I think it's great. I think it's the concept of just being able to see the bigger picture of that and not get caught on one side. And I think, and it's easy to do, and I do it frequently, and I still do it now, to see one particular piece and have lots of opinions about one side. Yeah. And then have to loosen that up again to see that there's got to be a bigger picture of it.
Well, I think that's possibly true, and I agree. For me, I think that's part of the inherent part of what it gets passed through the generations is that when your emotions happen, they're all over you, and you become, And I think for where I'm taking what I'm doing, it's about developing inner peace, because what inner peace brings is kind of an objectivity to emotions in a way. Inner peace is kind of what I would term as the edge of the coin or the whole coin. You can be content in life and be pissed off, or you can be totally enjoy, but you can still be content. I'm content at times things don't go well. They don't look like they're going well. I don't perceive them as going well. And sometimes I don't feel very good about it. But somehow under that, I'm still content that that's my life. Yeah. And it's not going to stay that way. Whereas it's going to go across the coin's going to turn over, if you like. It's twisting. And so I once you develop that inner peace, and of course you do that in Chinese medicine and in Qigong, that's where your focus is developing that aspect of yourself. Because then your emotions become something that happens to you. It's not something that takes you over and you become it.
Well, that's true. You're not your emotions. You just have emotions.
You have emotions.
You're not your thoughts. You just have thoughts. We're bigger than all of that. And we can get caught in thinking that's who you are. We get caught in thinking what we think in our mind. That must be me. What I'm thinking is me. No, that's your mind creating stories and patterns from all the things around and references and memories and stuff and creating this illusionary life. But we're way bigger than all of that.
Yes, we are. Yeah. And I make a point of further on in the blog. I say something about how the human mind has been hijacked, because in some ways there's a mainstreaming happening to children, and as they go through school, they're taught to think in certain ways, and for good reason. It's like, once you've finished school, you'll get a good job, so keep thinking like this, but and so much emphasis put on the mind and how we think, and very little put on how we feel and how we have emotions. We become experts of the mind, and we become apprentices of the emotions, and so for many people they have this problem. And how do you put the two together? I'm great at thinking, but when it comes to feelings, they just absolutely control everything because they don't know how to work them.
Exactly.
And I think amalgamating the two. I think for the mind, it's a case of allowing the feelings to come in and not judging them, not saying, oh, this is bad or this is good or right or wrong, because that's what the mind wants to do because of its training.
Well, it's been told to do that. Yeah, exactly.
It's been told because
that's how
discriminate.
Don't cry. Come over here and I'll make you feel better.
Yeah, this is one, this one, and this is two, and they run together. So it's a case of at the end of the day, it's a case of bringing the two together, and in many ways, it relates to what we call material security or spiritual happiness. Material security in the mind, in the brain, and spiritual happiness in the heart, bringing the two together. So it's not one or the other; it's both.
Yeah, I want to talk before. I just bring back that piece you said before, because I thought it was an interesting point. You can get really wealthy people that are really unhappy, and you can get really wealthy people that are really happy. You can get really poor people that are really unhappy, and you can get really poor people that are really happy. So it's actually got nothing to do with the money. Happy, unhappy, got nothing to do with the money. It's got to do with what's going on with the person.
Yeah,
it's a term of reference. It doesn't make any difference. We think money's going to bring us happiness. No, it's just money.
Yeah,
there's another thing going on. It's got nothing to do with that. And if we get caught up and it's going to give you one thing, it's going to give you happiness. Well, it can give you everything.
Yeah.
And if you don't have it, it'll get everything as well. So it's not about that.
Yeah.
But when you're caught up thinking that because you see it, especially on TV and everything, they portray that the money is the key to, if you have this, you're going to be happy. They always show you people with things with a big smile on their face thinking, this is what you get if you get that. It's a very good piece of psychology and a good bit of marketing, but it might not be 100% true because the following day when you wake up, that hole in your heart's still there and that thing hasn't filled it up.
Yeah.
And it's I think we chase a thing that's, I don't think it's our most economic way to spending your time chasing happiness. That's for sure.
No, it's one of
be
the
happy, be
hardest.
sad. I chase contentment with both of them. I'm just content being whatever I am right now.
Yeah.
And if I'm content, I'm not chasing anything because I don't care what I am. I'm fine.
Yeah.
I
guess
I'm doing whatever I'm doing. I'm happy. If I'm sad, I'm sad. Whatever. All of it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I breathe in and breathe out, and I'm just doing whatever I'm doing. I've had a lunch with a friend of mine. I've had breakfast with a friend of mine. We've chatted about all sorts. It's just fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not sure what else I'm meant to do to make myself happy. I'm already happy.
Yeah. And you don't need to worry too much about your, and it's funny because one will influence the other. We already said that if you're happy and you're feeling good about yourself, then financial security in whatever way you want it will begin to evolve.
Yeah, it has to. They're linked together.
Yeah.
They're linked together about the way you think. And it's not about self-worth with money. It's just about understanding that money is no different to anything else. Yeah. It doesn't have a second set of rules. It has the same set. We just created one. We've got to get it the same set. That if I can have abundance in my life and be happy in my life, then I can have money and be happy in my life. Or I can have no money and be happy in my life. It's not about the money.
No, it's really about
money. You've got to get it away from the money thing. Money's it'll catch people.
It's really about happiness, and like you say, there's rich people who are very unhappy, and often they're the ones who try to fill the hole with money, and it never works, So, and then there are poor people who are unhappy as well, and they've got the same hole, that they've got nothing to fill it. So the problem, is one better off than the other? I don't know. One's got heaps of stuff to fill it and it doesn't work. The other one's got a hole and nothing to put in it. They both end up in the same place.
And sometimes they're poor and they're unhappy, but they're not unhappy about the money. They're just unhappy.
Yeah.
And sometimes people are rich and they're unhappy. It's got nothing to do with having got money either. It's got nothing to do with the money.
Yeah.
It's got to do with the state of mind. It's got to do with who you are as a person.
So we could safely say, I was just trying to suggest that we could probably safely say that both are important, but spiritual happiness, it would be a quality one should work on first and develop that and not think about the money. Just develop your happiness in yourself and make sure that that's working well and that you can feel joy and you can feel gratitude and appreciate things. And then perhaps look at money but come from there and don't come from...
Yeah. Well, I think it's the whole thing. You've got to be okay with you. You've got to be okay with you and what's in all, the things you do well, the things you don't do well. Just love all of you and be okay with you. And if you're happy with you and you don't have any judgment on yourself and you're content with yourself, no matter whether you're 53 stone or whether you're a twig or whether you're a smoker or a drinker, if you're just happy with you, then there won't be any judgment on anybody else either. Because why would you want to judge anybody else? Because they're just doing their bit as well.
Yeah.
If you take it off yourself, you take it off them. And if you take the judgment off you, then you're a lot more content with just being who you are.
Yep.
Now, and in that place, you have choices. There's things that make you feel better.
Yep.
There's things that don't make you feel better, and you just choose not to do one or to do the other. But it doesn't matter because you had a choice, a conscious choice around it.
Yep.
I think that's important.
That's great. Yeah.
Someone like Adam, I don't know. Chatting online. I could just be making all this shit up.
Do you have a 3:00 appointment? I suppose, yeah.
I do. We make it all up all the time anyway. I think my mind just comes from my DNA, and my DNA's got all these funny stories running in the back of it that from generations have been given to me. I've got to wade through all the stuff to work out what's true or not.
Yeah. It's great, some of the new discoveries, the way, and I come at it, I'm reading things that scientists and physicists and people with qualifications, if you like, in their research, I'm reading it and thinking, it's almost, I could have composed a song that had all these lyrics in it, of what happens, because it feels so natural regarding, there's still a bit more information to come through, but some of the information now is kind of steering us in this direction of, we have everything we need within us, and it's just a case of changing a perspective about who you are and your story, if you like, the way you say it. So, So I guess there's going to be a few people going to watch this conversation on YouTube, because it's going to go onto YouTube, I think, and it will. Well,
thanks for watching. If you're going to watch it, it's great.
I was going to suggest you might like to give your website or any promotion that you're doing at the moment, and so people might want to join up with you, or
Yeah, sure. Well, at the moment, I'm doing Qigong teachers training courses around the world at the moment. And I'm going back to Bali, where I'm living. I'm going back next week. I'm in New Zealand at the moment. Yep. And I'm going back there, and I'm going to be running in a couple of states in America and in Canada and one in Mexico as well. So they'll be on my website. My website's petercoey.com. And you'll see it at the top, and you'll be able to get to that there. And that's where I'm at the moment. I'm just finishing my book, so I'm going to be publishing my book in the next month or so. So, I mean, basically just doing what I enjoy. I'm in Bali in the sunshine. I've got a new child, and I'm going back to be next week. I'm telling all my friends here, because it's getting colder here in New Zealand, that we're going back.
It's actually cold here in Melbourne.
I'm going to be swimming in the water with my son next week at the beach, and I like to upset people, so I tell them that.
Great. Yeah, I feel happy. I'm so happy for you. And
your meditation stuff you're doing, your online meditations are great. I just want to, if anybody's interested in doing meditations, I think what you're doing online with your meditations are very, very good. So I encourage people to join it. I think meditations are a really, really great way to really find out something that's going on inside of you and find the real essence of yourself. I think it's important. There's lots more to it than that, of course, but I think
it's hard to find other ways, and I'm not saying that meditation's the only way, because there are many ways, but they're usually relaxing ways. They're usually ways that are quiet. You're being introspective, and so I think it's a good idea to bring passive things into your life. Have times in your life when you're quiet and you're working at that level, and then you can hear what's going on in your life. If you're quiet enough, you can hear that going on.
You can hear the DNA, you see, if you're quiet.
They're all calling
themselves, talking to you.
It's nice to see you're happy.
You're worthy. You're not worthy. I love it. You'll get rich, or you won't get rich. I think it's great. I love what you do. I think it's great, and I love you.
Thanks, Peter. And I mean, I'd like to join you too. I can feel a bit of travel coming up, and because Melbourne's so much like New Zealand, and I was trying to get away from New Zealand's weather. I do love New Zealand. I do love New Zealand, but it does have a cold winter, and I kind of feel like I'd like warmth for a while, and
Yeah.
so I can
I
see
do.
travel coming up. And Bali's not that far actually,
Yeah,
so.
it's an easy
So
flight. Come and stay. It'd be fun.
I came, just one thing, I find myself doing a lot of online work now, and I never imagined myself doing it, but most of what I do is online now because I couldn't bring all my equipment here,
Okay.
because some of it was being paid off, and so you can't take anything out of the country if you're paying it off. So I've only brought enough to, I've only brought enough to, like a keyboard,
Yeah.
and I've got a sequencer and various things. So I can write a song and I can do things, but it's mainly online. And it'd be, I think to myself, it'd be nice to get out and start playing music again live.
Yeah,
And,
cool.
that's
Make sure you put it up on your site, up on your website when you're doing live gigs, so everybody knows, so they'll come along. And if you do it live, these days you can record it like you're doing now, and you can record it, and we can come and listen to it live.
Yeah.
You can put this on, and you can be in the background over there, and we can be watching it live.
Well, I'm just waiting on. I'm just on the outskirts of Melbourne. I'm about where I am at the moment. I'm about 50 kilometres from the city centre, and the internet is a little bit sort of grainy out here still. I mean, they've got super fast broadband and in the city, but out here it's a little bit slow. So you can corrupt the internet a little bit easy, and it can be affected by the weather. So putting music through online is really what I love to do.
Yeah, that means I get to come to your concert without having to go to your concert.
Yeah, it'd be wonderful. And it's getting possible. I mean, on the platform I use for the meditators, I can play my music and I could do a concert, but it's so grainy that you never know how it's going to come across. So I want to know that at least what I'm broadcasting is top quality before I'll let it go out there.
Yeah, good sound as well, exactly.
Well, it's really close. So it's not so horrible.
I mean, the picture quality in this is great. It's way clearer than FaceTime. Is way clearer than Skype. So, you could do this because everybody can log in and they can watch it online. Yep. So it's actually really useful. I mean, we could just do live. I'm going to talk about to my wife because as you say, my wife's a musician as well. That she can actually do a concert on Blab and just have herself in the picture and then broadcast it to all the people.
Yeah,
singing the song.
Absolutely.
It's a great concept, and it's a live song. You're singing it live to them.
Yeah. I'm going to sort out our little machine here so that we can put music through as well, because if I can do that, cool. then I can put the machine. But
if you start playing music, I'm going to start getting deep and meaningful. I might start meditating on you. So you start doing it.
Well, it'd be great to see Josephine playing some music and online. I mean, she could do it easy, it'd be great. Right.
You could sit in here and could sing, and then she could sing a song or something. You could sing a song just in the middle of it, and when we're chatting, it'd be great.
Absolutely, it'd be like the Graham Norton show in a way, wouldn't it?
Well, why not? The media. I love technology. As much as we want to be in the spiritual world with nature and connection, but there's something about technology that allows communications that we can never do before, which is really, I love it. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, well.
I need to go. I need to rush away for a patient. So
it's really all good. So I'll put this up on YouTube, and we can steer people. I'm sure people will watch it there because it's at a time like obviously when some people are asleep and others are in the middle of their days. So we'll put it up there. It's been great, and it'd be nice to turn it into a little.
Send me a link to it. And I'll put it up on my Facebook page so people can have the link to it if they want to. So.
And there's a few things I'll clarify so we can make it easier next time. But I've really enjoyed this, and
it's quite fun.
And it's been nice to sit and chat and have a cup of tea. And
it's like next time I must get a cup of tea, so I feel like I'm at the calf with you. Cups of tea.
Well, the backgrounds aren't too different, are they? So okay, Pete.
Get a few people walking past, we'll be right.
Thank you, everybody, for viewing it, and we'll talk again soon. Okay, bye.
See you, mate.